To share. Thank you so very much, and thank you for your patience too. Now, our first presenter is Dr. Caitlin Williams Beecher. And I'll do the introduction of the
I'm sorry, did the school get disconnected?
It seems so.
Okay.
It has been really raining heavily over the past few weeks, so I figure the connection is bad.
I was supposed to present at 1:40. I do have a hard stop at 2, but I'll be able to come back around 2:20. So I don't know if I guess I would have been next, but it may not be the case.
All right, no problem. Let's see how best we can proceed. All right, just let's give them 5 minutes and see how best they can come on. I'm gonna try to reach out to the counselor.
I'm on a tight schedule as well, so if they come back on, I might have to just, because I was supposed to go at 1:15, I'm guessing. So I may have to give my slot to Sonia and let her do her thing, because I'm just trying to fit this in between patients right now.
All right, let's see what we can do.
I was supposed to go yesterday, but it got cut off right before my presentation.
Wow.
So, yeah, so maybe it's just not my year to present live. I have to just send my love in a video at some point.
All right.
Sorry about that. I'm so sorry about that. No, I have data, so I'm connected. Dr. Caitlin? Are you hearing me?
Hearing you loud and clear.
Okay.
Hearing her, but I think she had to leave.
Oh, she had to leave.
Yes, she has some engagement, so she's gonna try to come on sometime around 2.
Okay. All right. So we'll have the next presenter.
Right. We will just move right ahead.
All right. Just go right ahead.
Miss McInnes would have been the next presenter, but I'm not seeing her on. So, Sonia, are you ready?
I have a 3 o'clock, which is 2 local time. I will
Right.
be about 20
All
minutes.
right.
I apologize.
Okay.
Right. Go ahead.
Okay. Mr. Gordon, are you ready?
Yes, I am.
All right. So, let me see if I can see what's on my screen. It seems all right. So, Miss Hines, Miss Gordon is gonna go ahead to present.
Okay, go ahead, Ms. Gordon.
Okay, good afternoon. Are we going to do a bio or should I just
Yes,
go ahead?
I'm going to do the bio, Ms. Gordon.
Okay.
Persona Board, class of 2003, is a cyber security policy specialist at the Ministry of National Security, Jamaica. She holds a master's degree in public policy from the, I'm not sure how to pronounce this because I think it's a Chinese or Japanese university.
Youngnam.
Pronounce it for me.
Youngnam University.
Yongnam University, South Korea, and a BSc Bachelor of Science in Economics and Statistics from the University of the West Indies, Jamaica. She's a former festival queen who enjoys being of service to others, evidenced by the current role as board director of the charity organization World Research Foundation. No, World Reach Foundation. Ms. Gordon has a keen interest in the development of young people, which has led to her playing significant role as an educator and a policy specialist in developing programs to enhance the capacity of Jamaican youth. She is guided by the philosophy to not always go where the path leads, instead to go where there is no path and blaze a trail for others to follow. Put your hands together.
Okay, good afternoon.
Back to you. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, ladies. Thank you all for having me. It's always a pleasure to give back in whatever way I can to a school that molded a significant part of my life and my development. And I hope that even in sharing in this career day with you, that you will hopefully learn something and be inspired to go out and just be better persons and citizens in society. I usually think of programs like these, like a career day event, as a critical stage, because at the grade 9 level, you know, this is where you start to think about the where you want to be, the career path that you want to choose. And to be honest, I would think that, you know, some of you may have had your sights set on a certain career path from as young as you can remember, while others may have, maybe every year you have a different career path that you want to choose. And some of you may just be confused. And that's totally fine, because I've been there. I've been that person, maybe at your age, where I wasn't sure what I wanted to do. And then at one point I had like 3 different career paths that I wanted to venture into. So it's natural to have those feelings at the moment. But one thing that I always say, as the presenter noted, that I was a teacher prior to my current position. I taught in the high school system for 5 to 6 years. And I would usually tell my students that we're naturally multifaceted individuals. So you don't have to confine yourself to one specific thing, because you have a number of talents that you can use. But what is good is to have some core skill sets that will help you, that you can transfer from one position to a next in whatever area of life that you may choose to pursue. For me, as currently working as a public policy specialist, focusing on cybersecurity, you may wonder how I got into this area. Actually coming from a bachelor's in economics and statistics, that is. I taught economics, as I said, in the high school system, and then, you know, I decided to pursue a master's in South Korea. And when I saw the opportunity, I usually like to tell people this, that it is always good to be prepared, because when opportunity knocks, you can take on that opportunity. Because when I was just scrolling through social media one day, I knew I wanted to pursue a master's. I was thinking something in economics, and I saw this advertisement for a scholarship in South Korea. They had a number of areas, but one of the areas would have been public policy in economic development. And I was like, okay, I can do this. And it was a full scholarship. So, you know, it covered, frankly, it covered all the tuition, accommodation. It also covered it. Well, it paid you, so you were basically being paid. You got a stipend, but my stipend at the time was more than what I was getting paid in Jamaica as a teacher. So it was a no-brainer for me to take up that opportunity. But I was only able to take up that opportunity because I was prepared. You know, I had done well enough in school and so on, and was able to then apply and be successful in getting that scholarship to do my master's. And once I came back now, I was like, okay, I'd like to maybe move into central government. And I saw a position open at the Ministry of National Security. At the time, it was for just a general policy analyst. And I applied. And as I think some of you would know, that cybersecurity is an area now that persons are gravitating to. But most persons, when they think of cybersecurity, they think of somebody who is, you know, behind a computer somewhere, trying to ward off hackers. That they think of the more techie side of it. But I knew my background was not in the tech side. So I was like, you know, what skills do I have that could be transferred? And I started doing some research. And in doing the research, I realized that but they do have policy areas for cybersecurity as well, because whatever measures that, you know, the technical people are going to implement to secure our systems, they also need a policy aspect of it. And I was like, okay, you know, I'm quite interested in this. I did my research. I started to reach out to a few people. And when the ministry decided to create establish a department specifically for cybersecurity, I was like, I need to jump on this opportunity right away. So again, it was because I had my own motivation to move towards that. So that was one of the skill sets. So to go into what a public policy specialist does, the general thing is, you research, you do a lot of research. I would start with that first. You do a lot of research because you have to look at what exists. So what policies exist? Are they working? What gaps exist in the frameworks that already are established, whether it is in the legislation. So persons in this area, they will look at a lot of legal stuff to see if what we have is effective and has the impact that was intended. If not, then we have to make recommendations to improve what is already there, and also to close the gaps that may exist. And persons who work in public policy will typically have an interest in government, in politics, in international relations, that type of area. And you can zone in on so many different areas. As I said, my master's was in public policy and economic development, but then now I'm working in public policy relating to cybersecurity. So you can zone in on different areas. And when I look at like a cybersecurity policy specialist, a typical day in my life, I'll be working on some type of treaty or legislation. I'll be doing research. So if you are somebody who likes to read, and let me put a caveat to that, I growing up and even in high school, I wasn't somebody who really loved reading, but I have come to find an appreciation for it, because especially with things I'm interested in. So for example, in cybersecurity, when you look at, you want to know the legislation that exists to facilitate this thing. So I can give you an example. With COVID, you would have had a lot of systems going online. So even for a lot of you, prior to now, you would have been having classes online for maybe a year and a half or two. And going online is one thing, but the entire system of being online can be dangerous if not used properly. And one of the things that I would have been assisting in is looking at the gaps. How is it that we can help to protect you, young people online, to ensure that you can enjoy the facilities of the internet without, while limiting the security risk that you may face. So that is one of the things, so helping to protect people's data, helping to identify risk and manage those risks, putting procedures in place. So just in case we have failures in our internet system or in our cyber system, then putting the proper procedures in place so that we can recover from an attack if that happens. So those are some of the things that I'd work on. I think some of the softer skills as a public policy professional that I think you need is you need to have strong interpersonal skills. So be an active listener, because it is necessary, because you're going to be interacting with numerous persons, and you need to be able to listen and decipher what is it that you need to be working on, and what is it that is necessary to do for you to do at the moment. You should also be an effective communicator, both written and orally. As a cybersecurity specialist in the Ministry of National Security, I have to communicate with the ministers, the permanent secretaries, diplomats here and from other countries. And in doing so, it is necessary for me to be able to communicate well. So, even as students know, the way you communicate with your peers will not be the same way that you communicate with your teachers. And you have to learn from this early stage your necessary communication skills, so that you will be able to effectively work in whatever environment that you're placed in. Written communication also is necessary because, as I said, we make recommendations for policy amendments and for policy implementation. And if I should draft up a cabinet submission and do my research and put it together and send it to cabinet and it's rubbish, then it would not look good on me, it would not look good on my minister. And therefore I have to put up my best even in what I write, so that even a layman can understand what is it that we're trying to put forward. You also have to be a problem solver. So I can't be here doing my work and we get a directive from the minister towards a certain security issue, and I can't be here and just sit down and say, oh, I don't know how to do this, or this is not something that I'm off the with. That would work because I'm employed to do my job here, and therefore it means that I have to find a way to be able to effectively solve whatever problem it is, even if it is not something that I may have full knowledge of. It is necessary for me to be able to put things in place to either find the right persons that can solve the problem, or find the right systems. So that's one of the skills as well. And I think one other thing as a public policy professional that I've learned is that I have to have the ability to persuade persons to convince them why this policy is necessary. So, I will come in, I'll do my research. As I've said, research is a major part of this. I will put together an argument about a certain legislation or a certain treaty. And I may be convinced, but I now have to convince the leaders as to why this is necessary. Why is it that we need to sign on to this? Or why is it that we need to implement this? And therefore, I have to have that skill of persuasion. So if this is an area that you're interested in, then it would be necessary for you to be able to get people to understand your point of view and understand why it's necessary, and be able to put that across in an effective way so that persons will buy into the policy decision that you're trying to implement. Some of the perks of, because I know, when you think of a job area, you want to know some of the perks of being in such an area. So I think first off the bat is that you are, as a policy specialist, especially in government, is that you have a significant impact on national development, because whatever policy decision that you put forward, and once it is approved by cabinet, then it will be implemented, and you can look at that and say, that was my work. That is something that I did, and you probably took it from the baby stage, from the infancy stage, and to see it now being enacted, you can rest assured that you had that significant impact on that piece of legislation, and therefore on that part of national development. Another thing is that, as a policy developer, policy specialist, I have had the privilege of representing my country in regional and international spaces. So, it allows you a little bit of travel room if that is something that you're interested in. It does. And again, it would be that you have been able to combine all your skills of being able to communicate well, being able to network well. It would help in ensuring that when you get into these spaces, regionally and internationally, you're able to represent your country quite well. And I think the other, maybe the last point that I would give you as a perk is that, you're able to interact with the leaders of your country and the leaders of other countries as well. And you become the technocrat on the specific area that you're working on. So like in my case, as a cybersecurity policy specialist, I need to have the knowledge of that area so that I can then share that with the leaders so that they can make informed decisions, and therefore that you're able to interact with persons the leaders of a country and of other countries as well. In general, what I would say and what I like to encourage young people, especially as while I was a teacher, I'd encourage my students to do your best in everything that you do. Because as I noted, I didn't start out in this career field, but I was able to transfer my skills, and that was only because I did well in whatever it is that I tried to do. So if you invest in yourself, then others will be willing to invest in you as well. So do your best in whatever it is that you're doing. So when you're at school, you don't give mediocre work. Ensure that you give up your best, you study well, you get involved in your extracurricular activities, speak with your teachers, reach out to persons for mentorship. Those are some of the things that you can start working on from now that will help to mold your career path, whether or not you choose one career this year and see something next year, you want to move to that area. Those softer skills will help you to be able to transition from one area to the next. And always be prepared. So as you continue to work hard and do your best, be prepared for whatever opportunities that may come your way. Because opportunities are always there. There are always persons out there who want to pay for your schooling if you do well. There's always a job opportunity there, but you have to be able to market yourself as the best person for this position. And in doing that, it means that you have to be able to stand out. So in a list of things that I noted earlier, doing well in your classes, being involved, and not to scare anybody off, because you may not have started that yet, but today is not too late. You can start now, and in doing so, you'll be able to put yourself at an advantage in getting the best out of whatever positions that may be available. So I think that may be it for me. If it is that you have any questions, I'll be here after the other presentations or any questions that you may have for me. Thank you for having me again, and have a good day.
Oh, thank you so much. Our next presenter is Seven. Our next presenter is Miss Akin there.
And Ms. Hines, the presenters, due to different reasons in terms of their profession, they have gone to attend to professional duties. So we're supposed to be waiting for someone to come in at about 3. So is it okay?
Yes.
All right, so we'll
Hello,
do.
is there any presenter that is in the waiting area that is able to present now? For example, Robin?
Robin isn't.
I'm here.
Oh, you are.
Oh,
Oh,
if you are able to present now, sure.
all right.
All right. Robin Fernando. She's a senior system engineer. Did you hear that, girls? A senior system engineer. Remember, we were talking about engineer yesterday, and I'm encouraging you to go into that field. So we have an engineer. She graduated from the St. Hilda's High School in 2003. From there, she moved back to Florida to the university. She realized that she did not want to continue in that route, so she joined the US Navy as an information technology specialist. While in the military, she completed her bachelor's degree in general studies and a master's in computer science. She currently works for the Pentagon as a senior system engineer. Did you hear where she works for? Yes. And we're very proud of you, Miss Robin. We're proud of all of you. Her certifications include Information System Security Professional, Certified Information Security Management, and Certified Ethical Hacker. Put your hands together and we welcome Ms. Robin.
Hello. So first, let me start. I'm sorry, excuse the accent. I'm American. It wasn't my choice. It just happened that way. One main thing I want to get across is that while I was in school, I was not the best student. There were teachers who saw me. I went to their classes every once in a while. I was a boarder and I just wanted to leave. So I actually spent my time doing every club, Spanish club, swim team, not even sure if that's still a thing, tennis, ISCF, anything where I could leave the school. I even attended funerals on behalf of the school just so I can go. Now, how I ended up here. So I'm at home, I'm working from home. This is my professional shirt that I put on whenever I have to actually do something, but I like to keep it relaxed. Few things I still don't know actually what I want to do when I grow up. I'm doing this because it's fun. And as Trezana said, you have to market yourself well and you have to be prepared when opportunity comes knocking. I left school and I did not want to go to college, but my mom's like, if you're going to live in this house, you're going to college. So I went to college and let's see, I went in for a 2-year degree and 5 years later, I realized I had wasted all this time because I was doing or trying to concentrate on something I didn't actually want to do. I didn't know what I wanted to do, but I know that what I was doing wasn't it. So I started doing research and I talked to a few people who were in different branches of the military and see if anyone would recommend it and what they got out of it. And of course, we live in the age of Google. And I decided that the Navy would be the best fit for me. The Army, people shoot at them all the time. The Marines, people shoot at them all the time. Navy, not so much, you're on a ship. So I went that route. While in, the Navy afforded me the opportunity to travel, learn. It's all, again, Trezana, she took advantage of a scholarship that paid for her education and her housing. I just took the military. And while I was there, I made sure that I made friends. Everyone's going to say networking is important. And yes, networking is very important. Someone you will meet today and just, be kind, be nice, have a chit chat to, might mention you to someone else later down the road. The job I have now, I did not apply to it, but when I was in Iraq, I talked to some contractors and they remembered me. So when I got out and my resume came across their desk, they said, hey, hire her. It's not luck, it's just being prepared when the opportunity arises. In the military, they paid for my education. All these certifications, they were going to pay for it. All I had to do was show up, pay attention, take the test. And I did that as well. And I actually ended up staying, well, my favorite part, I'm 35. Officially, I retired from the military at 33. So what that allows me to do now is, gosh, basically whatever I want. And when I say that, I mean, yes, I'm working for them now because it's a contract. I work on contract because I make my own hours, I make my own rules. And when it's over, I move on to something else. So a few things I definitely wanted to get across. First thing is you have to find your purpose. There's no one way to live your life. You could be a doctor, you could be a lawyer, you can go to college in Jamaica, another island, America, South Korea, Canada. Life offers opportunities if you are prepared to take advantage of all that it has to offer. Sorry. But a lot of people, they don't do anything different, but they expect different results. For me, I didn't want to go to school, get a degree, get a job, work, 65-ish, retire. Did not want to do that at all. Another thing that I knew is that I don't like being told what to do. And I know it's ironic. I joined the military because I don't like being told what to do, but it was a means to an end. Sorry. So you're not going to have all the answers. I am a systems engineer because someone called me. I decided to go into cybersecurity because I talked to people, I talked to contractors. When people came by, I said, hey, what is it that what you do? How'd you get there? I make these connections, not necessarily to get something out of it, but you have to talk to the person whose job you want. Yesterday, I was on hold yesterday. Someone said that they wanted to be a hotel manager. Okay, there are so many hotels. Make an appointment, ask to see their manager. I mean, they have the kitchen manager, general manager, operations manager, entertainment manager, hiring manager, and so on and so forth. Maybe you'll enjoy one of those more. Maybe it'll fit better for you. The general manager works 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. That's 12 hours a day. Maybe you don't want to do that and want to spend more time at home. Go out and get informational interviews. Sit down, talk to them. And then you do what they did. And that's all I did. I found people who were doing what I wanted to do. And then I did that. Also, this allows me the freedom to follow my passions. So another thing that I do is I have a website that I make clothes and sell them online. That's fun. I freelance. I'm actually a cybersecurity consultant. So I freelance and people call me and say, hey, this is the problem that we have. Can you help us? Sure. And I will say this, yes, cybersecurity, it can be challenging, but you have to remember, Google exists. Now, I know, I'm sorry. Hard work brings true joy, and it is true. I worked hard while I was in the military to make myself marketable, instead of going out, I spent time in books. I sped through classes at accelerated rate so I could get as much finished as I possibly could. I stepped outside of my job in the military to learn other things. That's when I also realized I like to work with my hands. So what do I do now for fun? Well, I fix motorcycle engines. Someone always going to want a motorcycle engine to fix, or a lawnmower, or anything with a small motor, basically. What else do I do? Computer repairs, hardware repairs. I learned a lot of that beginning stages, and it's something that I get to do where, again, I set my timetable. I take on the jobs that I want to. The freedom that this lifestyle, if you will, I wouldn't trade it for anything. Like I had to find out what I wanted and I had to be honest with myself. And the answer always turned out to be, I want to be able to enjoy life, to be happy. And what that meant for me was financial freedom. And again, I really don't like being told what to do. So I know if I wanted to make my own rules, my own passions and purpose, that was my drive. Late nights when you accelerate classes, you're putting in, gosh, 12-hour study days. And that's easy day while working, we should point out. But if it's something that you really want and you're something that you're excited about, there are no boundaries. Any boundaries you have is what you create for yourself. Mrs. Johnson said that people will stop by and they'll be like, oh, do you enjoy your job? And they say, like it pays, it's something to do. I never wanted to do that. I, again, wanted to be happy. And everybody that was telling me, you have to do this route, you have to go here, you have to be this, you have to know what you want to be, you have to study this major. Oh man, I heard a lot of that. And while I was in, a lot of them also said to me, like, what are you doing? When are you going to figure it out? And the answer is, I haven't figured it out, but I know that I am enjoying life. Some advice that I might impart, find your passions, find what you're passionate about, find what motivates you to get up in the morning. If you get up in the morning and your eyes open, you're like, oh, I gotta go to work, or that other popular IG comment about going to work, then that may not be the job for you. I knew early on that I did not want to be stuck in a box. And so while a lot of my friends, they're getting married, having kids, which is great, but what that meant for me was if I went that route, then there goes my freedom because I have responsibilities that you have to take care of, i.e. children. Instead, I got 2 cats and a dog. So we're doing okay. Speaking of the dog. So scrolling down through my notes. One thing that helped me was journaling, writing things down. It's a way to process your insights, your learning, your ideas. It's a way to kind of see your growth. It's a way to track what your thoughts are like. And it doesn't have to just be writing. It doesn't have to be like whole sentences. It could be drawing. You could draw a thought or paint or just write bullet points, write a list, write a story. You have to find something. Sorry, I just actually repeated myself. Yeah, so journaling, sorry. So one thing that helps me is when I'm actually going to journal, I get into like a little, comfy spot. And I just sit there with my pen and paper. My comfy spot is outside in front of the bird feeder, so I can watch them fly by. And I envision what I want. Yesterday, they mentioned manifesting things by believing that you can do. You have to see it. I didn't know exactly what it was, but I know what I wanted to accomplish. Happiness, freedom, financial security. So sit down, write what you need, draw pictures. Sometimes it's just something that you see. And I can't express this enough. Be flexible, try new things. I remember, I don't know what came over me, but I decided I was going to do an interpretive dance one year at Eisteddfod, and I did that dance to Michael Jackson's You Are Not Alone. I finished that dance and the entire auditorium was quiet. Nothing, not even a polite applause, just absolute silence. But I was happy with that because my goal was to be able to get on that stage in front of everybody and do something. It didn't matter what the outcome would be. Like, don't be afraid to fail. Failure, you heard it yesterday, nobody starts at one path and usually ends up there. It's, you will have things go well, you will have things go bad, you will have up days, you will have down days. That's just the nature of the beast. But that's one thing with journaling, and it helps you process that, and it helps you remind yourself that, hey, you have all these other good days, it's just a bad day. It's okay to take one for the team and then keep it moving. So, why I focused on cybersecurity. I enjoy solving puzzles. And cybersecurity is just one big puzzle because people keep coming up with new attacks and new things every day. Like the things that, well, I can't tell you, but the things that I see, and from the people you wouldn't expect, they're crafty. They're very crafty. And I like that because it's like a cat and mouse game. It's my adrenaline, my enjoyment comes from that. My passion is being able to track something down. I mean, if I have to go through every letter of code, every single line, if I could get there and I could stop an adversary, not only does it mean more money, but it is a great feeling. It is. And they say, find what you love and you'll never work a day in your life. I like a lot of things. I like computers. I like solving puzzles. I like painting. I like working on engines. I like animals. So I just went ahead and incorporated that into how I live my life. I will say this to close. Networking. It's very important that you actually have those conversations. Like you can go for an informational interview to speak with someone about a job you're thinking about pursuing. Excuse me. Okay. About a job you're thinking about pursuing, they'll remember you. Because there's not a lot of people who are coming up there on a Saturday afternoon to sit there and ask them about the job and try to find out where you want to go. They'll remember you. That shows drive. Networking isn't something that you have to do way later on. Even this, I had a friend of a friend reach out and said, hey, is this something you want to do? And I said, okay, we could take the other route, the strictly non-academic route. I should also point out that because I was taking my time and I knew that I still had to serve my Navy contract, I took my time. I started a degree at 18 and finished it at 25. And then I started my master's, it was supposed to be 2 years, and I did it in 4. Sometimes it works that way, but it doesn't matter because at the end, that's what people care about. And if you're going, while you're learning and going through, be remembered, just find some way, something that you specifically can bring to the table. And even now, if you want to think about entrepreneurship, start small. You have the internet, Fiverr, that's a website. Udemy, that's another website. People will pay you to teach them PowerPoint or Excel or Word or a programming language, anything that you can you draw? Did you master Photoshop? These are all tools that you can bring and people will pay you to do it for them. And for you, it's easy money. So find your passion, follow your dreams, and I'll stick around for any more questions. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Robin, for that wonderful presentation. I am going to look if the school is still connected. Ms. Hines, are you there?
Okay, thank you so much. Our next presenter is, who is our next presenter, please?
Sonia will be our next presenter. Are you there, Sonia?
Yes,
Sonia.
I'm here.
Awesome. All right.
Go
You can
ahead, please, go ahead. Thank you.
All right, so I'm going to do a little bit different from everyone else because I actually created a PowerPoint. So I'm just going to go ahead and share my screen. It helps to sort of drive the conversation for me.
Sonia, allow the school to do your introduction.
Okay.
I do not have a profile for her. I did not get one. So just go ahead.
I will read the profile then. I will go ahead and read the profile.
Okay, go ahead.
All right. Oops. Oops. All right. And Sonia had sent it via email, right, Sonia?
What's up?
Okay. Hello. Is everyone hearing me?
Yes, we are.
Okay. Sonia Smith is a graduate of St. Hilda's Diocesan High School, class of 2003. She also went on to further studies at the University of the West Indies West Indies and University of Minnesota. She holds a Master of Arts in Human Resource and Change Leadership and currently works as a senior HR manager at New York Presbyterian Hospital in New York City. She has been working in the field for over a decade and currently resides in New York with her family. Please welcome Sonia Smith.
Hi, everyone. So I'm going to talk about HR, human resources, which is something I'm very passionate about. And I actually landed in the field of HR through a friend. I'm going to talk through what exactly is HR, what are some core competencies that I think are essential if you're interested in HR, just my journey. And I'm going to do a little fun scenario at the end just to give you an example of some of the things that I get involved in. So human resources, as you can imagine, it is all matters related to the employees in the organization. Historically, it's been called personnel or the records department, but it's a very outdated term. We prefer HR, and we administer programs that increase employee engagement and overall organizational effectiveness. The thing I love about HR is that you can essentially work in so many different areas. You can do recruiting and selection. You can work in organizational development, which really focuses on how do you develop the employees as well as the leaders within the organization. We also focus on employee relations. A lot of people like employee relations because it deals with issues that happen between employees or even between employees and managers, and then you provide guidance to solve this. And then total rewards is really just benefits. So medical, dental, or your compensation, anything that is a reward to the employee to work for the organization. In terms of skills, it's very important for you to have good communication skills because you are constantly talking to people. You have to be able to listen. You have to know when to interject, really being able to provide guidance to them. You have to be able to be analytic and data driven. And I say this because, for example, one of the things that I do is
How can I assist?
one of the things that I do, for example, is figuring out why do people leave the organization, or why are people interested in joining the organization? What are their compensation? How do they like to be paid? How do you compare that to other similar organizations that offer the same thing? And so that's why it's important to be analytic. And then strategic, because you have to be able to use this data to provide guidance. So if I'm talking to a leader around, people are leaving your department for this reason, what can we do to help ensure that this doesn't continue to happen?
It's actually encouraging.
Not sure who's still talking, but I also get involved in project management, and you also have to be very culturally aware and sensitive because you are dealing with people of different cultures, different beliefs. And how do you ensure that we are all one and have a shared goal? For the career path, for most jobs in HR, you do have to have a bachelor's degree. So if there's anyone who is interested in HR, it's important for you to continue the path of pursuing an advanced degree. For me, I did get an on-site job so that I could get some form of experience, and it would prepare me to be able to use that when I complete my resume. So if you continue to pursue an advanced degree, I do recommend trying to get some form of internship because this will be helpful for you if you're trying to move on in the field. So I started off as a peer advisor, which was an on-site college job. I then moved into an HR assistant role, which was actually an internship in HR. So it gave me further experience in HR so that when I graduated, I would be able to get offers. And so I'm happy to say, even when I graduated from college, I actually got more than one job offer, which helped me to sort of make a decision in where I go next. I took an administrative assistant role, then I moved up to a support specialist, a generalist. I know you guys don't know what a generalist is, but it's basically having knowledge of all areas of HR and being able to be a point of contact for anyone who has HR questions. And then I became an HR business partner, which is a manager position. Essentially, I'm assigned a specific business. So in the hospital where I work, I'm assigned a patient services department. So it has to do with anything related to the patient. And so I am tied to a senior executive, and I am his go-to person for any HR questions. And now I function as a senior HR manager, where I lead a team of managers beneath me. So my role is I lead a team of business partners. I talked about partnering with the executive on any strategic initiative that impacts the overall employee experience. I talked earlier about reviewing data and being able to provide guidance on this, conducting investigation, talking to leaders about how to have difficult conversations. So if someone isn't following the policies and procedures, you need to be able to have conversations with the staff and setting expectations. And so those are some of the responsibilities that I have. I have to understand the basic laws of HR and being able to provide guidance on that. And I also have to be able to lead projects, whether that's multi-million-dollar project. I have to be able to talk to leaders and making sure that everything that has to do with the employee is being considered. So I came up with 2 scenarios, which is very similar to things that I've been involved in. So scenario number 1 is you are the director of finance. Your administrative assistant, Ryan, who is white, age 25,
is often late getting to work. You have tolerated it for the past year because Ryan is a top performer. Also last year, you had to terminate Sheila, who's Black, age 42, because she had several attendance issues, and you're not trying to lose 2 employees so soon after each other. You eventually speak with Ryan about his attendance and agreed to modify his schedule. So what are some things to consider? A lot of things are there to be considered. For example, Ryan is white, Sheila is Black. So why did Sheila get terminated and Ryan wasn't terminated? Ryan is 25, Sheila is 42. In the US, if you're over age 40, you are protected. And it can be seen as age discrimination if you are treated unfairly in comparison to someone who's younger than you. And in talking to the manager around what has been the consistent process for all employees, you want to make sure that any method that is applied, that you are fair across the board, because then you don't want to seem like there's favoritism at all. So there's a lot of issues here that an HR manager would talk to the leader about to ensure that we don't end up with a lawsuit. So that's one of the main things, right? We want to make sure that we're protecting the employee, the manager, as well as the organization. And then the next scenario is Susan was in a relationship with Dominic for over 2 years. They're both accountants and have recently broken up. Susan went to HR to disclose that Dominique is trying to get back with her and is constantly texting and calling her. He cornered her at work most recently, begging her to take him back. She thinks it is harassment. Is this a matter for HR? It is 100% a matter for HR. And what should HR do? So in a case like this, I would definitely have a conversation with Dominique, letting him know how Susan feels, setting the expectations, because it's unacceptable and it is harassment. And if he doesn't stop, really letting him know that he could be terminated from the organization. So I just wanted to share an overview of some of the things that I get involved with. I do think that I talked earlier about landing in HR. It's actually, one of my friends worked as a peer advisor, and she used to meet one-to-one with students, reviewing their resumes, talking to them about what they want to do next. And I was having a conversation with her and I realized this is definitely something that I enjoy doing. And that's how I sort of transitioned into the field of HR. I worked there, I improved my resume, I learned how to interview, and I sold myself. I've always wanted to make sure that I got a degree. Was very important to me. I feel like it was, everyone's path is different. That's something that Robin talked about. And you want to be happy with what you do. And like I said, this is something that I enjoy. And so, you know, I'm happy to answer any questions later on for HR, but that's essentially how I ended up in HR. Those are the skills that I think are necessary. And that's a little bit of some of the things that I do. But again, there's different paths to HR for anyone who's interested in HR. And that's the end of my presentation.
Thank you so much, Daniel. Thank you very, very much. We appreciate it. I know we have started late, but I'm sorry we have to leave now because my students, some of them live very, very far. They're going as far as Montego Bay, some of them, so we have to leave. So thanks again to all the presenters, and we really, really appreciate it.
Thank you for your time as well. We can take any questions that are available.
Good afternoon, everyone. On behalf of the great line, I would like to say thank you to all the presenters who took time out of their schedule to come and speak with us. Thank you for reminding us to do what we love doing, we are passionate about, and to always grab any opportunity to our
Thank you so much, and we'll join tomorrow at 12:30. Thank you. Bye-bye. Miss you and the rest of you.
Thank you. Never mind.